week 2 of the fantasy baseball season. Here's a few hitters I look to sell and trade this week. The first hitter, Lars Nootbaar of the St. Louis Cardinals. Nootbaar, he's been a hot waiver wire pickup the first few weeks of the season. On the year, 2 home runs, 6 RBIs, 10 runs scored, a 333 average, and a 435 on base percentage. So last season, he showed some flashes with Nootbaar, but the power obviously wasn't great with only 12 home runs, drove in 45 RBIs, but a 342 on base percentage. So right now, he's been the catalyst for this St. Louis Cardinal team, batting leadoff in the early going this year, Nootbaar. And he's made the most of his opportunity, but like I said, I don't believe it's going to hold up unless he really has a career and breakout year. April 2nd versus the Angels, 2 for 5 with a run. April 4th at Boston, 2 for 5, 2 runs and RBI. April 6th in the doubleheader at Boston, 1 for 10 with a run. And April 7th at the Pirates, 0 for 4. So he's definitely cooling off a little bit, especially the last 3 games with 1 for 10 in the doubleheader and 0 for 4 in last night's game at the Pirates, striking out 3 times is Lars Nootbaar. So right now, like I said, he's been a hot waiver wire pickup in the early going of the season, but he's definitely starting to struggle a little bit. And this will be a time, I believe, for fantasy owners to sell them off. Because anytime you can get someone, especially early in the season, off the waiver wire and try to trade him in a deal and see what you get, even if it's a middle-of-the-pack starting pitcher, I still think it's worth it at this point. The next hitter, Wilyer Abreu of the Boston Red Sox, one of the better hitters in fantasy baseball, and he's quickly been picked up in tons of fantasy leagues where he's only available now in 18% of fantasy leagues, and he's raking on the year 3 home runs, 12 RBIs, 10 runs scored, a stolen base, and he's 14 for 33 on the season. So right now, he's been great for this Boston Red Sox team, batting 6th in this lineup this season. And Wilyer Abreu, he's driving in runs, he's showing power, and that batting average is way up there. April 3rd at Baltimore, 1 for 3 with 2 runs. April 4th versus the Cardinals, 3 for 5, a homer, 2 RBIs, 2 runs scored. April 6th in the doubleheader versus the Cardinals, 3 for 7 with a run and 4 RBIs. And April 7th versus the Blue Jays, 0 for 4. So like I said, he's playing great baseball, but obviously it's not going to be sustainable to hit all over 450 all season long for Wilyer Abreu. So right now, he's another guy off the waiver wire, putting up huge numbers in the early going. You can put him on the trade block and see if someone's going to bite and give you a top price or overpaying a deal for Abreu. Like I said, I think he's a good talent, is Abreu, but obviously I don't think he's going to play to this level. And last season, he pretty much played over half the year with 399 at-bats and went for 15 and 58. So right now, while he's white hot, is Abreu at the plate. He's definitely a sell-high hitter this week. Next hitter, Nico Hoerner of the Chicago Cubs. Nico Hoerner, we know we're going to get stolen bases from him. You know, you're going to get a good on-base percentage and runs scored. But besides that, he's pretty much only going to give you 3 categories for the most part. Is Nico Hoerner on the season: no home runs, 6 RBIs, 6 stolen bases, 7 runs scored, a whopping 361 average, and a 425 on base. I know it's early in the season. I know it's only 36 at-bats for Nico Hoerner. But like I said, he's playing great baseball. He's hitting the baseball all over the yard and has the high batting average. But that's not going to be sustainable. And like I said, pretty much runs, stolen bases, and batting average he's going to bring owners, which obviously he can help you with qualifying at second and shortstop is Nico Hoerner. But I just believe he don't bring enough day in, day out to really put fantasy owners and help teams over the top. Besides, obviously, in stolen bases and category leagues and a little bit in Roto, he would help. So right now, well, he's off to a good start, and we know second and short are pretty weak positions in fantasy baseball. Maybe you could maximize his value and make a good deal this week. Next hitter, Logan O'Hoppe for the Los Angeles Angels. O'Hoppe off to a monster start in the early going on the season. 5 home runs, 9 RBIs, 5 runs scored, a 340 average, and a 367 on base. His on base to batting average, obviously not great in the early going, but he definitely has 25 home run pop, is Logan O'Hoppe. I just don't believe he's going to keep it up at this pace. And now 4 games in a row with a home run. Well, he's at peak value, and especially at a catcher position, that's one of the worst, if not the worst position in fantasy baseball. He's a great sell-high candidate. April 2nd at the Cardinals, he had a grand slam in that one, 1 for 4. April 4th versus the Guardians, 2 for 4, a homer and RBI. April 5th versus the Guardians, 3 for 5, a homer, 2 RBIs. And April 6th versus the Guardians, 2 for 4 with a homer and RBI in that one. So he's been wearing out that Guardian pitching. Their next game's here tonight at the Tampa Bay Rays is this Los Angeles Angel team. But Logan O'Hoppe, like I said, I think power is pretty legit. I don't believe he's going to be a 30, 35 home run guy, but anywhere 20, 23 range is possible for O'Hoppe. But like I said, he's not a great on-base guy. He's swinging early in the count. And as the year goes on, I think they're going to find that out, his opposing pitchers. So right now, he's amongst the league leaders in home runs, right there with Judge and Eugenio Suarez and Kyle Tucker. Logan O'Hoppe's a sell-high hitter this week. Final hitter I look to sell in trades, Tyler Soderstrom of the Athletic. Soderstrom, he's off to a monster start, tied for the league in home runs with Aaron Judge on 6 on the season. So Soderstrom, a couple weeks ago, he was a waiver wire pickup, and now tied for the home run lead. Batting average is way up there as well amongst the league leaders on the year. 6 home runs, 10 RBIs, 9 runs scored, a 381 average, and a 435 on base. So Soderstrom, even last season, the power was there. 9 homers and 189 at-bats. But like I said, for him to lead the major leagues right now, he's a great trade chip, especially someone that you picked up off the waiver wire, and he wasn't drafted in most fantasy leagues. And then if you could flip him in a deal for maybe a hitter and a pitcher, that's how good he's been playing his Soderstrom. This would be the time to do it. I'm not saying he's going to be bad the whole season. I'm just saying the pace he's on and hitting over 380 isn't going to be sustainable. April 4th at the Rockies, 2 for 4 run, an RBI. April 5th at the Rockies, 2 for 5 a run, an RBI. April 6th at the Rockies, 2 for 3 a homer, 2 RBIs, 2 runs scored. And April 7th versus the Padres, a big game, 2 for 3 with 2 home runs and 2 RBIs in that one. So like I said, he's got the power down his Soderstrom, tied for the Major League. But like I said, he's a young player, and once the league adjusts and more breaking ball stuff and different pitch sequences, we'll see if he could adjust to that. He's been one of the best players in fantasy baseball. And like I said, showing a lot of power, tied with Judge for the league lead. He's a sell-high hitter this week, so that's a few hitters I look to sell and trade for week 2 of the fantasy baseball season.